Well, now Councilman Mike Conway calling for a hearing into the moments leading up to the mass shooting. It follows questions about a communication breakdown between city agencies, law enforcement, and now joining us, Jovani Patterson with Peace. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Now, this upcoming hearing, city leaders are expected to ask the questions about what happened leading up to the shooting and the response from not only police, but Safe Streets workers. What kind of questions do you think they need to be asking?
Well, first is why is the breakdown in communication? You know, we heard the police commissioner say there was an intelligence failure. To me, this isn't, national security. This is a neighborhood block party, and you're saying you didn't know. And also, the message being sent or being perpetrated through between the mayor's office and the police. Right now, it seems like that the police commissioner is really just trying to stay or be in the mayor's good graces instead of standing up for safety within Baltimore City. So I think those questions should be raised. Who are you trying to protect? Are you trying to protect the mayor's plan, or are you trying to protect the citizens of Baltimore?
When you think about the Safe Streets workers that were present, I think obviously the police that day, they're stretched thin. They made it clear they only had 7 in that district to respond. But when you think about that particular day, one thing that has been noted in interviews we've had is that this wasn't like a quiet party. There was about 1,000 people there, possibly.
Yeah.
30 of those bullets hit people. You have to imagine there was an understanding that there was a large gathering. What do you think the response should have been? I know you mentioned the intelligence failure. What should have been the response been?
Well, they already realized it was an unpermitted event, right? Mm-hmm. And Foxtrot was flying over. They had received multiple reports, so there should have been some effort to break up the party. Now, for whatever reason, there's been this message sent to citizens of Baltimore, and especially our young people, that the police are bad, that you don't need interactions with the police. But there is a job to do, and that is to keep our city safe and our citizens safe. And just that right there is to me a complete failure of duty, whether that came from the top down or what have you. But to not break up that party, and they know it's unpermitted. They spent citizens' resources. I mean, it's not cheap to fly a helicopter over it, and for nothing, essentially.
I mean, the relationships between police and communities of color has a history in Baltimore of being strained. However, in this particular circumstance, when you're thinking about the lives that were lost that day, and a large amount of gathering and the violence that was happening prior to, do you think that there should be questions about the communication between Safe Streets workers and police?
Well, absolutely. I mean, again, there's a job to do, which is keep our citizens, our city safe. And there should be some open lines of communication between, Safe Streets, Muncie, police. And if we're trying to bridge the gap, there should be some type of bridge, especially between those violence interrupters and the people charged to keep our city safe.
And last question, you mentioned the party was not permitted. The Housing Authority is also being called on to be present at this hearing. Is there any level of repercussion that you think is necessary, or do we need to just be looking back at this and examining what can we change for the future?
Well, so I think one, repercussions should go to the people pulling the triggers, right? But yeah, there should be some type of, protocols in place, again, for communication, because everybody knew, right? It wasn't like no one knew what was going on. The police knew, the mayor's office knew, Safe Streets knew. And it just seems like they're trying to protect the mayor's plan versus telling the citizens of Baltimore the truth.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much, Jovani Patterson with Peace. Just ahead, the plane